Have you ever tried to record yourself, but felt so fake, like nothing like yourself, that you just cringed? It's not because recording videos isn't for you. It's because your nervous system is trying to protect you. In this video, I'm going to talk about why you might not feel like yourself on camera and what helped me start to change that. Hi, I'm Isaac, and this is Deep by Design. Let's talk about it. So the road to getting to 17,000 subscribers on my first channel began with one of the most painful experiences of my entire YouTube journey. It was the first time I tried to record a YouTube video, and I was so nervous and excited. I set up the lights and the camera in the living room. I had a teleprompter with a carefully written script. I was wearing a button-down shirt just to look professional. I was going to make sure everything looked right, and I was sure it was going to work. But here's where things went wrong. I was speaking about my relationship with anxiety and how it came from childhood, some very personal and sensitive things. But I was smiling and speaking loudly with enthusiasm. I could feel the disconnect in my bones, but I felt powerless to stop or change it. I kept starting over, but each attempt felt worse than the one before. I felt this fear and sadness deep in my core. My stomach clenched. I was flushed and sweaty. And the more times I tried to get the words right, the more I misread the teleprompter or lost my place and had to stop and go back. I didn't have words for it at the time, but looking back, I can see that I was in the freeze response. I tried to record for a while because I was still very determined, even though I felt sick to my stomach and on the verge of tears the whole time. And underneath it all, some part of my mind was trying to understand why it felt so bad. I'd been on tons of Zoom calls for work and had presented to leadership many times. And it had always felt generally okay. So why did this time feel so different? Why did I feel like something was deeply wrong? Later, when I watched it back, it was so clear that this was not how I wanted to speak and act in videos. It felt so fake and inauthentic. Now, to be clear, to this day, I don't like how I look or sound in recordings. But this went way beyond the normal cringe of seeing yourself in a video. I saw how flushed and sweaty I was. I saw myself smiling while talking about painful, sensitive things. It went way beyond cringy into icky. But I didn't know how else to speak. I didn't know if I could speak differently on camera. So after that, I just put away the gear, and I didn't touch it again for quite a long while. I honestly wasn't sure if I would ever try recording again. I couldn't understand how I seemed to have all the pieces, the script, the gear, even the passion and the motivation. But the result was so unlike what I had imagined. I wanted to connect with people. I wanted to share what I had learned, what helped me with anxiety and with building the skills of self-compassion. I told myself I needed to find my voice, but I didn't really know what that meant or how to go about finding it. And the more time that passed, the more the idea of setting up again and risking another experience like that first one was just too painful to even think about. And it felt even more risky and scary, because if I tried again and it came out that way again, then it might mean that YouTube was just not for me. Before I had recorded, I had felt so hopeful and optimistic. But after, I felt defeated and small. I felt camera shy, and I didn't know what to do about it. So I worked at my job and I did nothing. I didn't go near my camera. But that's not the end of the story. Things finally began to shift for me when I looked at my attempts honestly and clearly. I had to face the reality, even if it meant never recording again. I don't mean looking at it in a critical, judging way, just an honest assessment of what was happening in my attempts. And what I realized was that it didn't work because I had tried so hard to act the way I thought I was supposed to. I didn't know what masking was yet, but I did understand that using the voice and smile and the energy that I used in my corporate job was not going to work for me on YouTube. So that was the first piece that had to fall into place. The next piece came in the middle of the night. I struggle with sleeping well, and one night I was up looking for something to watch on YouTube to help me fall asleep. And I found Edie ASMR. At least I think that's how you say her name. This was when she was still just doing like very calming videos, almost like guided meditations, with a soft voice and gentle hand movements. And what was so powerful was how real and authentic she seemed. She left in all her mistakes. She occasionally smiled and even chuckled when she made a mistake. She didn't try to fill every second with words. She allowed quiet moments and quiet spaces to just be. She looked into the camera without any mask. Real emotion came through her eyes. It was so honest and real. She modeled a sense of alignment between herself and her voice. She did what she wanted to do, not what she thought would get her more views. Seeing Edie ASMR being true to herself and succeeding on YouTube opened my eyes to new possibilities and gave me permission to try recording in a different way, in a way that felt more aligned with who I am. The next time I tried to record, I approached it more like an artist than a YouTuber. I felt like I was bearing my soul in some way. I was walking in without my usual defenses, without my armor. I was letting myself feel whatever I was feeling in the moment. So if I felt nervous or tired or scared, I didn't try to hide it. I didn't try to mask it. But at the same time, I didn't put my focus on those things, on those feelings. And I stopped performing emotions for the camera. Instead, I let the emotion come up from my heart and through me into the camera. Now, I'm not saying it went perfectly from the start, or if like it's ever been perfect. But what really helped me was understanding why it had been so hard in the first place. Recording yourself on camera is exposing. It's vulnerable. And vulnerability means you have less control over what is happening. And having less control means greater risk. This is nervous system language. The nervous system is very basic. It says, recording myself is putting myself in a vulnerable position that's full of risk and danger. So I need to control as much as I can in order to be safe. We can try to override the fear that comes with greater risk, but our thoughts are not as in control in those moments as we would like, at least not for me. If you have a highly sensitive nervous system, it's going to do what it was designed to do. It's going to try to control everything it can in order to feel safe. So the masking I was experiencing, the loud voice, the big smile, the bright lights, the scripted teleprompter, the collared shirt, all of it was my nervous system's attempt to create a sense of control in a situation that it saw as dangerous. That's not a personal failure on my part. It's protection. This is what I work on with sensitive creators in my coaching practice. We aren't failing to be authentic. It's just that our nervous system is trying to control an inherently uncontrollable situation. The situation of being aligned between heart and voice and not masking. So after seeing EDASMR, I realized that none of what I was doing was a requirement. I started to feel so much more free. I could do things my way, from my heart and my intuition, and what felt good to me. The lights were the first thing I changed because as a highly sensitive person, putting bright lights in my face was very uncomfortable. And it was such a relief when I gave myself permission to change that. Finding what works for me has actually been a very slow process. I'm often just changing one small thing at a time, and then sometimes changing it back to the way it was before. It's a process that I don't think I'll ever stop doing. To this day, when I make changes to my background or to how I'm recording, it's often because I'm following what feels best to me and what I think will convey my message more clearly, not just some advice some YouTuber gave me. So if anything in this video resonated, I made another video about what I actually do when I committed to recording a video, but I just can't get myself to do it. And it has nothing to do with laziness. If that's something you struggle with, then take a look. It should be right here, and it's also going to be in the description. Thank you for being here. I'm Isaac, and this channel is Deep by Design. I'm really glad you're here. Until the next one, be kind to yourself and take good care.